All right, good morning, everyone. This is Tim, the New York Giants Straight Talk, brought to you by the mighty FanDuel. It's FanDuel.com, the number one sports book in America. We all know that. Well, the NFL draft is wrapped up. There's a lot of topics I want to cover today. Topic number one is going to be the NFL draft. Well, maybe not topic number one. Topic number two is going to be John Harbaugh putting a stamp on this team. Topic number three is going to be drafting football players over athletes. Topic number four, and maybe I'll start off with this topic, is the trade pick calculator for the NFL. I have a friend that still works as an assistant to a general manager. And I asked him about this topic, and I asked him, I said, we gave up 2 4s and a 5 to move up to get Malachi Fields. And I told him, I said, in my mind, that seemed like a lot to give up. And I said, predicated on the draft card, because you always have to have the draft card, predicated on the draft card, was this a ton of compensation to give up for Malachi Fields? And he was like, and I was like, if you could do me a favor, if you could do me a solid, if you could maybe send me an idea of what the draft card looks like, and maybe send me an idea of how it works. And I love him because he's like, sure. And I was like, okay. And he was like, I'm going to send you a draft card from last year that we use in reference to deciding what picks are valued at what round in what area of the draft. And I was like, well, that's fantastic. I said, I greatly appreciate that. So I was like, I got the Chode Sports ones. I was like, make sure you send me the draft card. So he sends me the draft card this morning, and I haven't had a chance to fully look at it because he's mentioning to me that this draft card, it's different every year. Now, it's also different for every team, the values, because this organization that he works for, and I don't want to say the organization because the fact that he did send me something, he sent me something, that I don't know. But I asked him, I said, as a winning organization, does the value of your draft card change year to year? And he goes, yes. He goes, we evaluate draft picks differently because we have been a winning organization for years. So we always pick lower. So our evaluation of the draft card is a little bit different than other people's evaluation. What's up, Charlie? What's up, Broken? One of the most underrated things about the draft class is how young these guys are. Avril, Francis, 20. Hood just turned 21. And Fields is 22. Hey, you guys. Who else is wearing pants? I'm not going to answer that question, but we're going to get to the draft card really quick. So I just want to go through this really quick because everyone's always getting me. People were getting me on yesterday about the Malachi Fields pick. And I kept saying, I love the pick. I love the player. He reminds me of Keenan Coleman from last year, 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. I don't think he was ever used right in Buffalo. He's a big target. He's a big wide receiver. He doesn't fit well in space, so he's going to be used differently in the Matt Nagy system. He's not going to be a guy that's going to play within that bucket because he's not going to be a guy on a quick hitch. He's not going to be a guy you're going to throw an out pattern to. He's going to be a guy that's going to be a long stride guy in reference to getting deep. But I still look at the fact that, like I said, I looked at the value of the card. Now I'm going to pull up my calculator because I thought personally moving up that many spaces was a mistake. So I'm going to pull up the draft value card real quick again. Because I probably shouldn't show it all the time, but we're going to pull up his draft value card real quick and where his round values are. And as you can see, you're looking at about, if you go into the third round, you're looking at a total value about 225 points. So now the 2 4s and a 5 should equal under 225 points. Now, if they don't, a lot of the times you're going to find, you're going to, the general logic is that you were hoodwinked. Now we're going to add 10% on to the 4th round pick we're going to add 15% on the 4th round pick because the 4th round pick next year that we gave up is going to be a little higher in regards to value because it is a deeper draft. So if we evaluate the 2 picks, if you take the 4th round picks right off the bat, you're looking at 100 and we're looking at 200 points. We're talking about 205 points on the draft value card. Now the draft value card we need to equal is 225. Now the 5th rounder, we're looking at a difference of 40 points. So we're going to add the 40 points onto that. So we're looking at using the draft value card as 245 points. So technically we should be under 200. You should be under 225 points. So, I mean, there's only a small difference. You're looking at a 20-point difference. So if you go to the draft value card, a 20-point difference would be the 177th pick in the 6th round via their draft value card. So if they would have thrown us the 6th pick, then that makes more sense and all this, and we go through there. But like I said, the value is not over. It's not as bad as I initially thought for the player, because of the fact that, like I said, if you take a look at the total of the draft value card, we are I'm going to pull that back up again. We were going to need to be coming in around, like I said, around 225 points. So this is their draft value card. This is a draft value card of a team that is a winning organization. So the Giants draft value card could be totally different. But if you take a look at the value traded, why the 2 4s and a 5 were seem on the surface in reference to moving up a little high, also because of the fact that you lose the potential of bringing in 3 additional players. If you follow it through the true draft value card, it's only about 15 to 20% over what you should have paid. So I don't have a problem with it. So now I don't have a problem. Now I don't have a problem with it. Oh, boy, we love math. We love math because math is math, and there's nothing you can do to falter math. Math is math. Math is math. Math is math. I love the fact that we've also signed the Giants have signed an impressive, of course we have an impressive draft class, but then they're talking about the fact that we signed Thaddeus Dixon out of North Carolina to the 90-man roster. That, of course, is going to be that is someone coming over from the Bill Belichick. We probably shouldn't listen to anything that Bill Belichick says, be considering what Bill Belichick did to us with Joe Judge. So we probably should ignore that. We should probably ignore the Belichick. That's just my thought process. Excuse me. I was told there would be no math. I didn't think there was going to be math, but when he sent me their draft value card, I was like, well, shit, now we have to do math today. And I was curious because, like I said, I've talked to some other people who don't work for NFL organizations, other people who work in the media, and they're like, oh, this was just horrendous. This was just terrible. It was god awful. And then I look at it and I go, I said, I kind of thought that too. And then, like I said, I spoke to my friend and he said,
that's not the way you're supposed to do it, Dad. They want us to do it this
I don't know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math.
Okay,
math
Dad.
is math.
So math is math. So we go through it. Let's see here. Joe Ferry says, another draft class with an A grade from the media. What could go wrong? I think you got to look at the fact from this way, Joe. You have a lot of content creators and people in the media that don't like the draft. Most of the media likes the draft. Most of the people I've talked to who work in the league like the draft. It's the content creators that don't like the draft. So these are motherfuckers that got shit wrong for the last 5 years. So if they don't like this draft, this has got to be a fucking phenomenal A+ draft. I'm down with it. I'm down, Charlie Brown. Let's go. I'm down. A big body X Factor fans cried about not having. We get one. Oh, he's one of the best blocking wide receivers in the draft. Good fit also for Dart. Also reported the Dolphins wanted Fields, but we jumped him. I never go by that. I never go by those rumors. There was a rumors that someone's gonna that the team ahead of the Giants during the Deonte Banks trade was going to take Deonte Banks, so they had to jump him. They didn't take a corner in the entire draft. So I never go by that speculation. I never go by that. But I do like the fact that if you take a look at Malachi Fields, he's gonna be, it's gonna be interesting, to be honest. Because like I said, if you look at his strengths, you looked at what he does well, you look at how he excels. He was a wide receiver that was projected to be a mid-round pick going into the season, going through the season. He kind of fell a little bit, and then during the combine, then during his pro day, then during workouts, he kind of dropped. He is the anti-Mike Mamula. Mike Mamula rocketed up the draft boards because of he's also the anti-JJ McCarthy, who I didn't think JJ McCarthy had a great combine. I must have been the only person that looked at JJ McCarthy and was like, I don't fucking see it. And I kept telling people, I want to see it, but I don't see it. So while you have these draft risers because of the combine, because of the workouts, because of the pro days, you got a guy that falls and slips sometimes. You got a Jerry Rice, and I'm not comparing him to Jerry Rice because, like I said, Jerry Rice, you could have timed with a sundial at his combine. And the reports say that Malachi Fields ran a 4.65 to a 4.61. Not what I refer to the most blazing speed out there. People will also say that he has more football speed than he does that, and I understand that. But his timed speed is average. His time speed is actually below Keenan Coleman's, who has not found success yet in the NFL. It's going to be interesting to see if he wins the battle of positioning with his strength rather than sticking with the corner, because corners that have speed are going to be able to stick with him because he does not have the vertical pull away threat. I do question, like I said, I question his route tree because of the fact this is a guy, if you watched him play, he rounds off his breaks way too often, and he lacks that quick foot speed to make consistent and constant. We've talked about it before, consistent and constant separation. So he's going to have to get sharper with his patterns. He's just going to have to find a way to get open. And I tried to tell people, listen, what you need to do is you need to look, because everyone tells me, oh, show me the highlights. And I watch the highlights. I'm like, oh, those highlights look good. But here's the problem with the highlights. If you watch them, a lot of times there's 2-3 guys draped over him. That's called he's not creating separation. He's winning the contested catch against guys that are working in Home Depot now. Now, the problem is also with Malachi, if you watch him at Notre Dame, when the pocket breaks down, when the play dissolves, when the quarterback scrambles, which Jackson Dart has a tendency to do, he struggles to get uncovered. And this is at the college level. This is a guy that played 5 years in college. So you would hope in year 6 would have been, or year 5 would have been this prolific season. We saw that with Kadarius Toney, who played all these, he had 4 or 5 years at Florida. And it wasn't until the COVID year did he have his breakout year, which was his last season. You kind of hope that with Malachi Fields, you were going to see that. But you're bringing in a big target. You're bringing in a guy with reliable hands. You got to bring in a guy that's going to be a big frame. He's a guy that's got an excellent feel when you get into zone coverage. He's going to consistently finds that spot in the zone, which is what you want to do. And he gives your quarterback a big catch radius. Now, I think he's going to excel at a little bit higher on the deep passes because, like I said, it's going to take him a little longer. He's like that old 76 Chevy I used to have. You know, when you got it going downhill, it was rolling. He's going to spend a little bit more time getting into the deep routes. He tracks the ball naturally, which is great for a guy when you're working on the deep routes. And like I said, he is a guy that'll be a contested catch guy. He's a willing blocker, as someone mentioned before. He's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the arms. He puts in the effort and the physicality that he needs. He is a football player. I don't want to be a player no more because I motherfucking crush a lot. He's a football player. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today. If you take a look at what the Giants did, if you take a look at what the Giants are drafting all the time, over and over again, when we would have these Joe Schoen drafts, when we would have the Gettleman drafts, they would draft the athlete, the guy that's got all the measurables and all the intangibles. Oh, dear Lord, he's got all the fucking intangibles. He has all the skills to pay the bills, and he could potentially be a Pro Bowler. Just too bad none of them were actually football players. And there is a difference between drafting a football player and drafting an athlete. This draft, if you take a look at what they have done, they are drafting football players. You thought I was going to say athletes, but they are drafting football players. You know, you take a look at, you know, some of the later round picks. And, you know, there's a contingency of the fan base, which is fucking bonkers for one guy, and I don't see it. And that's Jack Kelly. Listen, I like the stash, but Jack Kelly is a pass rusher. Jack Kelly does not have what I would refer to as proper tackling technique. Jack Kelly, listed on many boards, was going to be an undrafted free agent. I like the Giants bringing him in with the 6 round picks, because of the fact that when you have these guys that are potentially undrafted free agents, you don't want to fight other teams for him. Most people had big Jack Kelly way down on their draft boards. I had him below 25 in reference to talent. I know some people that had him at 26. He's got a low grade. He's a pass rush first guy. He is not a guy that is going to diagnose plays extremely well. He is a guy, like I said, that if you watch him, he spied the quarterback a lot at BYU, and he tried to prevent a lot of scrambles, but he's got some dog in him. He's got a little bit of dog, and that's what I like about him. He plays through the whistle. We've talked about that. He competes on every snap. You look at his vertical and his burst and his vertical leap. His vertical was 37 inches. His broad was 10.5. Not the. I'm not going to say he is slow, but he's not the swiftest of foot. You know, he still ran. He actually ran a faster 40 than Malachi Fields. He's a downhill guy. He's a designated blitz guy. And at times, he can handle the A gap. Now, the other problem is he gives up way too many catches underneath. He's not good in pass protection. He's not a run fit guy. His 2025 tape showed no improvement over his 2024 tape. He doesn't tackle well. Especially in space. He lunges way too often. And when he breaks down his tackling technique, the whole shit falls apart. But he's a football player. This is why I don't mind the Jack Kelly pick. He is a football player. He's a football player, true and true. He reminds me a little bit of me. You know, someone with not the greatest amount of talent, but someone that put in effort, someone that was a tactician of the game, someone knew where he needed to be, someone knew his role and his responsibility, and other people that, you know, in Giant fandom are putting this guy on a pedestal. He's a fucking 6th-round pick. If he makes the practice squad, you should go dance naked in the rain. But he's a football player, plain and simple. He forces fumbles. He blocks field goals. He does all the things that you want him to do. He does all the things that you need him to do when you ask him to do it. He's not going to blow you away with his athletic measurables, and that's great. That's fine. I don't need that. I don't need it. Pitbull Jack, there you go. I call Jose Alvarado. Yeah, he's he's GTA 5. I call Jose Alvarado the angry Chihuahua. Because of the fact that he's that ankle biter. He's just that guy. He knows his role. He plays it well. And that's the thing with Jack Kelly. And this is what people need to get. He is a football player. That's what I love about him. Bobby Jamerson Travis. Old Bobby. I was kind of excited when the Giants went that route. I'm not going to lie. Because I did a little work on old Bobby. Now, Bobby is another guy that could have potentially been an undrafted free agent. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Because of the fact that if you're grabbing a guy that it could be an undrafted free agent, it's because you have to fight other teams to get him. But at 6'3", 328 pounds, he is a guy that carries his weight well. He is a space eater. He's got a quick first step. He consistently beats the center. His run defense, and he is the anchor. And some of his best tape you need to watch against some of the best rushing attacks in the SEC. He understands. We've talked about it before. In the old days, they say, get on the inside, get your hands underneath the tits. He understands how to get under the chest plate. He gets it. He's effective when he squares up and engages. He is a guy that's got a closing burst in short areas, and he's cut down significantly his missed tackles from the last 2 years. People will tell you, well, he has below average straight line speed. Well, at fucking 328 pounds, I don't need the motherfucker to run straight. I need the motherfucker to hold the line. I need to get penetration.
That's what she said.
That's what I need. They'll be like, well, his pass rushing skills are thin. I don't need him. I got Darius Alexander for that. He's just a bull rusher. So the guy that I want to be a 2-down guy, and I don't need him in obvious pass situations because I have Darius Alexander and I'm going to bring in DJ Reader. He's only a bull rusher, which means that he's going to hog space and get penetration. Yeah. Okay. He's a 2-down guy. Yes, there's no pass value to him. That's what he does. He's a 2-down guy. But you know what he is? He's a football player. He makes his money on early downs. He has a clear, defined role in the NFL. He understands how to hold the point of attack. He can play in a nose tackle in an odd front scheme, which would make so much sense for him. He's a two-gap scheme guy. He knows how to control the A-gap, which will allow the linebackers to do what, guys? Because we've said it on the show a million times, to flow to the ball carrier, to use their feng shui. He's at his best when defensive coordinators ask him to line up and shade the nose in a one technique and absorb the blockers. That's what he does his best. While people will say he's limited athletically, he has athletic limitations. Fuck that. He's a football player. And that's what we need on this team. We need guys that are football players, not guys that are going to sit there, and I'm going to have to hear, like with Matt from Connecticut, Matt Pert, well, in 5-6 years, when his athletic ability catches up to his size, he's going to be spectacular. Yeah, he's spectacular what, with the 49ers? There are too many times we draft over the last years, we draft on projected talent off physical traits. And I've said this before. We have passed on so many guys on this team the last 11 years that if you take a look at it, you were projecting them because of their athletic abilities and not their production. Gap bulldog control. That's what he's there for. That's what he is going to do. And all these people that are, you have people that are, that dislike some of these picks. It's like, because you don't understand that he is a fucking football player. That's what we need him to do. We need people to play roles on this team, which will allow other players. Now, these are what we're going to refer to as bit players. Guys that if we take a look at them, may not blow you away with their physicality in regards to their prowess of athleticism, but guys that if you watch them and you see them and you sit there and say, you know what, these guys could potentially be people that come in and do things that we need them to do immediately. J.C. Davis at Illinois. He is another football player. You could say he's as slow as molasses. He was a projected 5th-round pick. He played in 49 college games, 3,133 snaps. He's got a thick frame, a big body, great hands, understands his true physical abilities and advantage at the point of attack. He reads the gap exchange well. He handles the twist well. He rarely gets caught guessing on combo blocks. He is a good guy to drive forward and block onto defenders and push them back. He's patient. He doesn't lunge. He doesn't overcommit. He's got 49 consecutive starts across 3 programs, which speaks to his durability and reliability. But then you'll have people say, well, you know what? He doesn't have all the physical traits. He lacks that pop at the point of attack that sometimes the outside speed rushers can take advantage of. Well, I'll put him in a guard. Sometimes his balance gets shaky and defenders can get around him. Well, okay. Then I'm going to teach him. His hand placement is not consistent enough. He needs to be more technically sound because he can't get away with athleticism. You want to know why he can't get away with athleticism? Because he's a football player. He's played in 49 college games, 3,133 snaps. He was a projected 5th rounder. I had him a little bit lower on the board. He's projected to be a left tackle. But that's fine. He's an A-gap or a power-heavy run game. This is the problem. We had such a people forget about the New York Football Giants. We've showed about this before last year. Our pass defense was terrible. Against the pass, we couldn't block for the pass. Well, okay, total pressures 134, 6th in the league. Total pass blocking efficient 87.2, which is 4th best in the league. Our biggest issue is we couldn't stop. We couldn't, well, let's be honest. We couldn't block for the run. Now you have picked up a bunch of guys who will be able to push the pile forward. They always say, and I've always heard this comment over and over again, and I never played offensive line, but I've talked to people who have played offensive line. I know offensive linemen. They will tell you their easiest job in the NFL is when they're pushing forward. The most difficult job in the NFL is when they're going back, because you're playing backwards. You're playing in protection. You're moving backwards. You're trying to stop a guy rushing at you as you're going backwards and trying to protect your certain area. We're finally getting some guys that actually move, I don't know what, forward. And Joe Ferry's, he's a 6th rounder. Who cares? Better odds in FanDuel parlay than a guy picked that late round. You're right. And this is what I keep trying to say, people. A lot of these guys are undrafted free agents. But you don't have, when you have multiple 6th rounders, multiple 7th rounders, you can grab these guys that you see have some certain abilities that fit your roster. And that's the problem with the Giants over the last 10 years. They didn't get guys that fit the abilities on their roster. Now we're bringing in guys, which is shocking to me, which is fucking, I am befuddled. We're doing things right. We're not allowed to do that. We're doing things right. And I keep thinking about this, and I was trying not to be, when I was thinking about this, maybe not 20 years, but I was thinking about this. If you go back over a period of time, the best class in the most recent history is 2020, where you had Andrew Thomas, Xavier McKinney, Matt from Connecticut, and Darnay Holmes, who are all still in the league. That is probably your best Giant class in the last 15 years. Because if you take a look at some of these classes, you know, people say, what about the 14 class where we had OBJ? Yeah, you had OBJ, you had Weston Richburg, but then you had a bunch of nothing. You had Bromley, Andre Williams, what's his name? Nate Bethea. You had the linebacker, and you had Bennett Jackson. Then you had the other draft where you had like Justin Pugh, good player, but not great. Jonathan Hankins, DeMontre Moore, Ryan Nesbitt, Cooper Taylor. Who could have forgot the veteran Cooper Taylor or Eric Herman or Michael Cox? Or how about we go to that wonderful 2012 draft with David Wilson? Of course, that was more of an injury related, but people have this moment of fondness for David Wilson. But David Wilson, in the 2 years that he played, you only had 500 yards in rushing. So, but you had David Wilson, you had Ruben Randall, who can remember Jaron Hosley, Adrian Robinson, the tight end, the Adonis, the tight end, the Brandon Mosley, Mike McCants, Marcus Kuhn. Then you have the likes of 2011. You go down to Prince Amukamara. Good career, not great. Then you have Marvin Austin, Jared Jenkins, James Brewer, Greg Jones, Tyler Smash, Williams, and you had the running back Scott. You have to fall all the way back to 2010, where you had Joseph and Jason Pierre-Paul. And both of them just Joseph left the league in 2024. Paul left in last year. But then everyone else was garbage. You have to then literally go back to the 9 draft with Akeem Nicks. Don't forget about Clint Symptoms. The linebacker we took in 2009 at 45, that was going to be Carl Banks. He was out of the league in 2010. You got Will Beatty, Travis Beckham, that other great talent, Ramsey Barton, Andre Brown. You had the Boomer. You had DeAndre Wright. You had Stoney Woodson. And then you take a look at this draft. And it takes you 3 years to gauge a draft. Arvell Reese was the best linebacker in this draft. Some projected him to be the best player or the second best player in this draft. Big Francis, arguably the best lineman. You got the best press cover corner in this draft in Colton Hood. Malachi Fields, you got a guy that is going to be more than serviceable. Now, we've also already proven that if we take a look at the draft chart, the draft value chart, while the Giants only overpaid by about 15% to get him, they got a guy that fits what they want to do in reference to a bigger target downfield. No more throwing to Smurfs. La, 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 la. One day, all day wrong. Oh, you also got, like I said, you got Bobby, Jameson, Travis. You can say you got the defense. You got potentially a true nose tackle who's a hard-nosed football player. Same with J.C. Davis and Big Jack Kelly. And like I said, I don't think Jack Kelly's going to make this roster. If anything, I think he's going to be in the practice squad. But he is a hard-nosed football player that knows his role. These aren't guys that we look at and say, well, they're immense athletes. No, we are looking at football players. Ruben Randall, yes, that was I thought that was a Thursday night game. Eli Manning, that was the first time I've ever seen Eli Manning yell at a wide receiver. 3 interceptions, 3 consecutive interceptions, all to Ruben Randall's side because fucking Ruben Randall ran the wrong route. I will never forget that game. Never going to forget that game. It took 10 years to replace Ruben Randall's 800 yards of production. But that's sad. You're not wrong. I wish I could sit there and say you were wrong. But you're not wrong, Charlie. You're right. We've gotten football players. Yes, we're still signing DJ Reader. But you also understand this: the DJ Reader is in his 30s. So, and also he's only playing like 45-50% of snaps. He's not playing like he used to. Keyshawn the Bruce says that's what coaching is, to coach players up and learn proper technique to properly prepare them for games on the field. Good coaching brings the best out of players, even in the late round picks. And you hope, and I do think we have the right direction. I do think this. We hope that we get these guys coached up because their talent and their measurables cannot be measured by athletic ability. Well, Arvell Reese is a freak. He's an athlete. Big Francis is a freak. He's an athlete too. But they're both football players. But these guys' talent cannot be measured just off their athletic abilities. They are going to be measured off how they play, how they produce. And I think that's what I got to get the Bruce Wayne face in there. Freaking me out, man. Freaking me out, man. There's Bruce Wayne. There's Adam West. I got an Adam West dummy. Now I got the face. I got original Batman 60s costume. So I needed an Adam West head because you can't have a Batman mannequin if he don't look like Adam West. It's just fucking crazy. Oh, now the pieces match. That's the thing. Before, you're right, Mr. Perry, we were a cut and paste team for years. We tried to cut and paste talent that didn't fit. We tried to cut and paste talent for players that were not athletes. That were athletes that were not football players. You know, like Isaiah Simmons is the first one that comes to mind. Giant fans loved Isaiah Simmons. They went bonkers for him. They wanted him. I didn't want him because I don't like people that don't have defined positions, even in college. And when he came in, his athletic prowess was off the fucking chart. It was phenomenal. But he still didn't have a position. He finally gets here after some undescripted years over in Arizona. Comes here, plays good for like 3 games. We bring him back. Wheels fall off the bus again because he's like, I don't know if I want to play safety. I don't know if I want to play linebacker, because you don't have a defined position because you weren't a football player. He went over in Green Bay and struggled because he wasn't a football player. I read value somewhere that we came in 19 points under value, meaning the Browns got shortchanged by 19 points. No, they didn't. I'm saying, my brother, I am literally using a draft card. I am literally using a team's draft card to figure out the value. And to his point, you have to project your draft card off of next year's draft, and you have to add at least 15% onto that 4th round value because of the fact that next year is supposed to be a totally stock draft. Well, I'm short, tough, dependable, but I can play football for shit. But I can't play football. Well, you should be a 6th rounder. Dom says Joe Schoen wanted to preach smart, tough, and dependable, but you didn't get the guys that were smart, tough, or dependable. That's the thing. You went out and got guys that are football players now. You are going to see a different, and this is the thing, and there's still talk, and there's still rumors, and there's still speculation that Joe Schoen gets shit canned in a couple weeks. I don't think it's personally going to happen. I wouldn't mind if it happened because I think that, but I do think that John Harbaugh is going to bring somebody in next year. Maybe it's Dawn. I don't know, that he feels like that he can work with, that he feels like that he can build an organization around. I love it because if you watch the press conferences between Joe Schoen and with John Harbaugh, if you watch them, it's kind of funny because they do this. You know, Joe Schoen's talking, and normally when you are either kind of disgusted by someone or you just don't really want to have anything to do with them, you kind of pull away. The almost the entire press conference when Joe Schoen talks, watch it, John Harbaugh does this. It's like, John, there's only 2 seats. We can get you a 3rd seat if you want to get further away. Which, if you're into body language, that tells you a lot. What do we say? Don't care about field speed. Can't have Butterfingers. Slayton is stiff. Slayton is Slayton, but you're stuck with him for a year. You're not getting rid of that $14 million guaranteed contract. How are you going to go about it? Slayton still plays a role on this team. Slayton's the prime example of a athlete over a football player. Andre Patterson and other defensive staffs used to teach players to wrap up tackles, penalties, use shoulders. We don't know exactly what they taught. BJT may have athletic athleticisms, but he holds up the line well against double team. Unlike many others run pluggers, he can actually has a quick enough first step to make negative plays in the back. But yes, and I agree, but he's gonna be a 2 down guy. Is this a repeat episode? I feel I've seen the Knights jersey 10 times. It's cold downstairs. It's cold down here. And the office heater is broken. I got an office heater on the wall. So it gets cold downstairs. Because when I built the downstairs, I didn't put a duct because I didn't really think about it. I didn't put a duct in the office. There's a goose, but there's no duct. So I have to have the door open to get the heat in, but then I get the door open, then I get sound from the outside. So then it was my mistake. It was my mistake. That was like today replacing the battery in my son's truck. I'm not even going to get into that. With all the picks at linebacker, it's fair to say we are going with a 3-4 defense. I think we're going 3-4. I think we're going 3-4 just based on also what they're doing on the defensive line. I think they're going 3-4. Because you're gonna bring in DJ Reader, you're gonna bring in, you don't need to bring, you got Alexander, and then you drafted a guy that you hope that in Bobby Jameson Travis, you drafted a guy that you hope can be that late round anchor. He was pretty good during the Bengals days, but just too bad that was a long time ago. Charlie says everyone's going to compete for the roster. I can't. I'm so pissed that they're in fucking West Virginia. That still pisses me the fuck off. Because I'm not driving 7 hours to West Virginia. If I did that, I would have to stay the week, and I don't really think I can convince my wife to go, hey, baby, you know what? You know what we should do? In like August, we should go to West Virginia. Screw going to the beach. Screw going to the islands. Screw going to... We should go to West Virginia. Mountain Mama, take me home, country road. That's where we should go. She's going to say no. So everyone needs to calm down. Jack Kelly should be competing for the long snapper spot, not asking starting line. I agree, Amrod. You're right. Fuck, now I'm hungry. Ooh, BJT, bacon. Oh, bacon, jalapenos, and tomatoes. Ooh, I like that. Tim, how Bobby makes it because we need a nose. Yes, I agree. What about the kicker? We've signed like 9,000 kickers. We have so many fucking kickers. It's like, I'm thinking about going in and compete, which is great. If the guy from Miami's healthy, he's going to win because he was basically automatic in Miami before he had the hip injury. The ceiling is being a stud special teams guy who can be a 10-year long. Yeah. To Protect says, sounds like Jack Kelly's going to be he is going to be a special teamer if he makes the team. But the thing is this, he is a football player first. And that's what we need to talk about. That's what we need. We don't need dogs. We need humans that can play football. Yeah, we wish we had it. Mr. Young says, good morning, Tim, or hello. Love all of our picks. I wish I could sit there and tell you that I hated this draft. I do. I wish I could tell you that, because that's what I'm used to doing. I'm used to telling people that I dislike this draft. I'm used to telling people that the Giants have done things stupid. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure how to react. You signed a head coach who is the best head coach on the marketplace in my mind since the since Bill Parcells left the Giants and then backed out of the Tampa deal. We then give the head coach full power, total autonomy to go out and make moves and do what he needs to do. Cleans house. Kevin Abrams, all these guys pack the shit up. Get the fuck out. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Goes out and he hit the likes button. Hit the like button. I'm not looking over there because that's where the like button is. Hit the like button. This says we have 7 likes. Or maybe I need to refresh. It says we have 33 likes. We should have 50 likes by now. But you went out and got a head coach that's making sense. That's making moves. He goes out in the free agency. He makes sense. He makes moves. He talks about getting rid of Joe Schoen. You have a draft where you look at it on paper, year one, this could potentially be one of the best drafts the Giants have had in the last 15, 20 years. You went out and you got football players that fit the scheme of your team, that who's all of them, if you look at them in some regards, could compete and offer something to the organization and to the team this season. My mind used to explode when we would draft potential guys. Over 3-4 years, his potential is going to be off the charts. Of course, we all know anytime we draft someone in 3-4 years, they're already off the team. But now, and I've always said this, there were so many guys on the board for the last couple of years who were football players whose ceiling may not be as high athletically, but who can play the game. And then we go out and get guys like that. Well, I don't think he does. He's got a 13.8 missed tackle percentage for his career. I don't think, and I know that. But I don't know what to do. I'm not supposed to be this. I'm not supposed to be this at all. I'm supposed to be like, that sucked. This sucked. I'm supposed to tell you the truth and be like, well, none of this makes sense. I am stunned and befuddled that this fucking shit makes sense. And then the fact that so many other content creators and other people hate these picks makes me love them even more, because these morose motherfuckers have been wrong for years about everything. We've been right pretty much about everything. They've been wrong about everything. So now the world has gone topsy-turvy. We've said it before. As time goes by, sometimes the villain becomes the hero. And I don't like it. I'm going to bring somebody on just so I can fucking yell at him. Today at 4, we signed DJ Reader. Are you saying that or are you guessing that? I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it. Make you feel all funny.
What am I supposed to do? We've sucked since 2011, 2 winning seasons since 2011, and then you want to do shit right? And then you're doing shit right and morons are fucking complaining about doing shit right? The world has become a very odd and strange place. That the New York Football Giants, who's texting me? All right, well, now Bad Dog's just smoking crack. So someone's got to tell Bad Dog.
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
He's question mark. I wish I had stupid Twitter post. Best 6th rounder ever. And it's old Jack. Oh, dear Lord. Dear Lord. I don't know why I went on Twitter. Hold on. Someone's emailing me. All right, what do we got here? I got to go back to someone's chat. Someone's sending me chat messages. Good morning, good morning, man. Good morning. Hey, Tim. I could be one of your monitors. I love your channel, man. I want to protect your channel. And good morning. All right, you know what? I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna figure out how to do that. To the person that send me the links about being monitors, I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna have Mrs. Online. If you filed in the people that filed in a request, I don't know how to do it.
That's what she said.
But I'll have Mrs. Online Big Blue figure that out, and then you guys can be moderators. And then you guys can all be you guys can be moderators. You can yell at me. All right, Mr. Samuels. What the fuck? What the fuck's going on here? I'm not supposed to be this way. I'm supposed to be like the one guy that's like, oh, yeah, you know, this, you know, we kind of suck and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say is I don't know. Reese is a monster. We haven't seen the talent at linebacker since Lawrence Taylor. I'm not saying he's LT, but his comparison is there. Well, Greg, no, that's now you've just.
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
Crack must be easy overseas. Come on, Greg. He's not that. Lawrence Taylor coming out of the draft was already special. If the Saints didn't go with George Rogers, they should have went with LT. We never would have known what LT was. Tim, you almost were done with the podcast. Remember, you did this to yourself. Only thing that your wish list is Joe getting canned. That's the worst fucking part. That truly is the worst part. The only thing left on my entire wish list that I had before I left was Joe getting fired. If Joe gets fired, I'm not going to, don't worry about my blood pressure. I got these pills. If Joe gets fired, I don't know what to do. I might have to start looking at other teams so I can sit there and say, yeah, I got to complain about something. All about views and drama. You're right. James Williams says, love how Harbaugh handed Neighbors the situation, unlike this entire fan base. Listen, I've said it before. Malik Neighbors should drink a big tall glass and shut the fuck up. And I also said, and people are like, well, you're contradicting your own opinions. No. I said he should drink a big tall glass, shut the fuck up. But I also said he's entitled to his opinion, and he's entitled to express his opinion. I wouldn't have done it on a Rivals podcast. I would have done it on maybe a Giant podcast. I wouldn't, so Malik, if you want to come on Online Big Blue, New York Giants Straight Talk, featured show on the Bleav Network, brought to you by the mighty FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com, the #1 sports book in America. I live for FanDuel. If we go to the sports book right now, let's see if the Giants line has changed in reference to going to the Super Bowl. Also want to check the Knicks line. We were at plus 7,000 earlier. Where are we at now? Oh, we're still at plus 7,000. We've come up, of course, from the venerable plus 15,000 that we were a couple weeks back. But at plus 7,000, I think that's a good bet to take on the Giants right now. And right now, of course, we have, I'm trying to see where the Knicks are right now. And don't forget, for new customers, bet $5, get $250 in bonus bets if you win. The NBA playoffs are here, and the best time to join the action is now. So get $250 back in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So you got to sign up for FanDuel, make a deposit, make your bet, and make the big win. Let's see how the Knicks odds are. The Knicks odds. I love the NBA odds because the NBA odds are just fucking insane. The Knicks a couple days ago were plus 5,500. Now, after that win in Atlanta's dropped to plus 15,000. The Knicks have moved to plus 2,500 on there. You still have the Boston Celtics at plus 490. I love it. You got the OKC Thunder at negative 120. Yeah, I'm not taking the Thunder bet I'm going to stay away from that. And right now, you got happy hour every day. Get 30% profit boost tokens to use on any wager between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. for any NBA playoff game taking place today on the 27th. Of course, I'm thinking about that Knicks bet right now. Thinking about taking the Knicks. Let's see. If I bet $50, I only win $1,200. What if I bet 200? All right, I win 200. I'm going to bet the Knicks right now, plus 2,500, $200 wager, win $5,000. I'm going to hit go. Make go now. Okay, we're good. All right, so we took care of that bet. Of course, that bet is also on the mighty FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com, the #1 sports book in America. I actually have very good blood pressure. I have very good blood pressure. For those that do not know, for anyone that cares, I'm usually about 109 over 67. I've always had low blood pressure. I don't know why. Zach Attack's in his house. Tim's supposed to be retired like 10 times. He's unretired more times than Roberto Duran. No, I'm actually more of a Brett Favre. I quit, coming back. Now I quit again, coming back. I quit again, not coming back. So, I admit that, but I was done. I don't know. Is this what optimism feels like? That's a great fucking question. Is this what optimism feels like? Because I'm not 100% sure. I sometimes walk upstairs and I'm walking in the house and people are talking to me about how great, and I love it because this is how I know how well the Giants did this draft. When you have fans, and I live of course in the heartland of Pennsylvania. And I still love the person that told me there's no farmland in Pennsylvania. That still cracks me up to this day. But I live in the heartland of Pennsylvania, and we only have 51 likes and 133 people watching over there. So I'm not going to talk till we get up to 70. Nah, I'm lying. I'm still going to talk. But when Philadelphia Eagle fans, Dallas Cowboy fans, and Washington Commanders fans hate your draft, you did something right. So maybe this is what optimism feels like. Yes, James says this is what optimism feels like. I feel like I feel like I should be riding a unicorn that's shooting flames. Oh, wait. Sorry. Sorry about that. That's the shirt James and I are going to be wearing game 6 at MSG when we're playing the Celtics. And then when we win, I'm going to make James dance like this. Just saying. Just saying. Jets and Cardinals literally have no hope. I feel like becoming a cricket fan. There's probably some better bets if you if you have cricket. If we started winning, all these podcasts are going to explode. If we're any popular, we will suck. What happens when we are 10-7? I don't know. I'm just still shocked that I'm still I'm still shocked that my podcast exploded. James Williams says if we go 10-7, you might see Tim change his hair color live on stream. Nah, I'm not going to do that. Emrod says, how does the cap situation look? Do we have money to bring in Reader? I'm only reading it because between 24 to 6 million, can we see? We have, don't worry about the New York Giants cap space right now. Fuck. Did I just say that? Did I literally just say, don't worry about the New York Giants cap space right now? The world has gone fucking crazy. Right now, not counting the rookie draft pool. Right now, not counting the rookie draft pool, we have $18 million. 18 plus. You can generate more cap space. You can then you have a guaranteed cap number of 21 million from Brian Burns. You could take some of that and convert it into signing bonus. You could do the same thing with Paulson and Debo. You can do the same thing with Andrew Thomas. You can create at least another $15 to $20 million cap space if you sit there and look at some of these contracts and say, you know what, we're just going to take some of the guaranteed money and just convert it to bonus money. Now, doing that, some of that will get pushed out into 2027, but I'm not worrying about that right now because there's really not that much. and we have $18 million in total available cap space with the rule of 51. We've shown this before. If you take a look at the draft picks in regards to where we're sitting in regards to cap space, we need, if everyone makes the team, you're going to need a total of $16 million in guaranteed cap space. So it still leaves you with $2 million, but you can create a $15-20 million, because you got to remember, only the first 3 picks have fully guaranteed contracts. It's your 4th round pick. Now you also got to remember, we also have to take that 4th round pick and we got to change it to a 3rd round pick. So you're still, your 3rd round pick is money is only like 35% guaranteed. So you're still in the realm. So you should, don't worry about the cap space. Don't worry about the cap space, I just said. Is it too early to start fucking drinking? Is it too early to start fucking drinking? Because I just said, don't worry about the cap space. What the fuck is Dawn doing? Her job? Right, so we got a capologist that's doing their job? No, we're not allowed to have that. Even when we were good, we had cap issues. We're not allowed to have that. We're not allowed to have that. Tim, I have a question. Okay. How come you only praise the LT teams, but your teams you beat Brady twice? Honestly, accomplishments was better than Bill Parcells because of who they did beat twice. I praise the other teams, but the 86 and 90 teams, the 90 team should have no way in hell beat the Buffalo Bills. Wide right, we don't beat them. The Buffalo Bills offense and even defense that year, especially the offense, was second to none. Probably that 90s Bills offense was probably one of the top 10 offenses in league history. See, here's the thing, Keyshawn Bruce. I'm going to say you're like 32. They were the best offense. They would probably be ranked, in my mind, outside of some of the Chargers offenses and some of the Miami offenses, probably in the top 5, the 1990 Bills offense. You still, in 86, had to go and compete with the 85 Bears. 85 Bears were still a team. The division in 86 and the talent level in 86 was just phenomenal. And let's be honest, the Giant team in 86 was just that good, that team is also in the top 5 in some people's regards, the best teams ever in NFL history. So yes, if you talk about a team that is one of the best teams ever in NFL history, you should talk about them with some reverence and always talk about them, because that's what they are. What happened to the kid that looked like and sounded like McLovin? He's right there. You don't see him? He's right there in the corner. What's wrong with you?
I am McLovin.
Tim shows up like Trenton with Marv Albert's black toupee. That would be kind of funny. My wife once convinced me. I have gray hair, yes, but I also have some blondish, brownish hair. My wife convinced me once to dye my hair black. And I loved it. This one was much younger, and I love it because she dyed it like Sharpie black. She dyed it that black. To literally a point, and we did it during Christmas vacation. We did it during Christmas vacation. I come back to work, and my buddy comes into my office, and he goes, "Your hair is black." And I said, "Yes." He goes, "No, it's Sharpie black." And then he takes a pen, he takes a Sharpie, he goes and leaves and comes back with a Sharpie and holds it up and says, "See, it's Sharpie black." I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. The old timers say Bill Parcells teams did, but history will remind you of the teams who beat Tom Brady twice. Here's the problem though. Like I said, most people consider that Bills offense and the Giants' game plan for beating the Bills should be in the Hall of Fame, because the Bills team could either go on these prolific drives or score in 15 seconds. most people thought that 90 Super Bowl was going to be a normal blowout, like a 45-17 Buffalo win. It was Buffalo's best and only chance to win. They just ran into a buzzsaw called Parcells and Belichick. With a defense that was 4 years older against an opponent, they had, if you played that game 9 out of 10 times, like some of the games with Brady, but I don't think that, because the Brady games, especially 2007, it was so well game planned by Spagnuolo, you would win that game 9 out of 9 times, even without the catch, because the defense was so fucking dominant. But the Giants had nobody had the Giants winning that Super Bowl 90. Just saying. OG knockout. When we beat the Bills in 91, that was super upset because we didn't have our starting quarterback and the Bills offense was from outer space. I forget about that too. Let's see. Nathan says, I really like this draft. Reese and Hood steals. Big Francis will help the run game along with Fields blocking downfield. I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. Oh, the game plan is in there? I didn't know the game plan was. I don't know what to, guys, like I said, I'm so fucked in the head right now.
I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
That's the way I normally feel during the Giants season. And right now, April 27th, we're usually out of contention. I'm sitting there going, sunshine and lollipops and rainbows and happy things. I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to fucking do. I don't know what to do. The division is nervous. That's the thing. The division is nervous. Tell her again, I do like the picture. James, we're either, when we go to game 6, I don't know which one we're wearing. I kind of like the Flaming Shark. I also kind of like the Flaming Unicorn, because we've already discussed what the Flaming Unicorn is. I don't know which one. I don't know. A, B, B, A. I don't know. I can't get the thing to scroll up. Why is the thing not scrolling up now? Fucking streamer. Hey, fucking streamer. Now I can't get it to go off. That's what she said. How come I can't get my banner on the bottom? Ooh, I'm going to get in trouble. Great. Now I'm going to get in trouble because it doesn't say Mighty FanDuel. FanDuel.com, number one sportsbook in America. We'll just have to have this one up. How does that work? Where's more? I need love. Hold on. Brand 1, brand T. What's T brand? I don't know what that is. Hold on. Let's go back to this one. Brand 1. Oh, here we go. Now I got it to work. No, now I still can't get it to move up and down. What the fuck is going on with this thing? I can't get to the Mighty FanDuel. What if I do this? That ain't gonna work. What if I do this? Hold on. I gotta get the FanDuel thing to work. I don't want to get in trouble. I got enough fucking trouble all day long. I don't want to get any more trouble. I don't know what to do anymore in my life. My life is just so fucking crazy right now. And now I can't get the FanDuel thing to come up. All right, let's get back to the comment section. Whatever the comment section now. New comments. Oh my God, the whole thing is screwed up. I got to put the link in the chat because I forgot to send the link to Mr. Joe Spano, so Mr. Spano can come on a moment and discuss his thoughts on the NFL draft. I'm going to put this link in the chat right there. Also, James, if you're around, make sure you get there. Oh, we have the FanDuel, the mighty ZipRecruiter, ZipRecruiter.com. 2007 Giants got the record for longest time of possession opening drive in Super Bowl history. You're correct. That is right. The compensatory pick already spent on the Fields trade. Yeah, pretty much. TMS played the flag game now because of the rule changes, so they aired it out. Here we go, the venerable Joe Spano.
What's up, Tim?
What's up, Trenton?
I'm wearing my my Giants blue today.
I was like, you're wearing your Giant. Just tell us, as a Pussy Eagle fan, how you are so upset about what the Giants did in this draft. God, tell us. God, tell. God, tell. God, don't hold back.
I still can't believe you guys slid on Downs. I thought Downs was for sure the pick at 10, but I think he did some good things. Especially I like the Colton Hood pick a lot.
That was a good pick. We like that.
I like the Colton Hood pick. I forget the name of the receiver you guys got from Notre Dame, but he seems like a big body target. Yep.
Malachi Fields.
And I think he fits in with your offense because you didn't really have a guy of that physical profile.
No, we don't have a big time physical blocker downfield. Oh, one other thing I have to give you full credit for on draft night. That was one hell of a pee. You pissed for like 45 minutes. Your poor wife is sitting there. And I was like, did she maybe want to put it on mute?
I had no idea until after I was done that everybody could hear my audio, but that was fucking hilarious because I didn't even make it to the Eagles pick, dude. I was so lit that night, I fell asleep.
And the best part was, it's like you didn't even shake it off. It was just one of those that was a straight stream, and then it just like turned off like a faucet. I was impressed.
Oh man, yep. That was fun. But yeah, I'm broke down in the work truck right now, just waiting for roadside assistance. So I figured I'd hop on.
Well, that sucks. But I got to let you jump off because I got to bring in Joe because we have a lot of stuff.
All right, see you, buddy.
Dogs are going to hopefully you get well, it's a work truck, so they should come and get you, right?
Yeah, I don't even care. I'm getting paid for this, so sounds good to me.
I was going to say, do you care if you're broken down in the work truck?
Nope. I'm not on the highway. I'm in a gas station parking lot. I can actually go get some food. See you, buddy.
Well, go get some food, brother, man. I'll talk to you later. We're going to drop in the venerable. Where is the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with StreamYard today? I can't get the thing to work. Hold on. We're going to bring in the venerable Joe Spano coming in strong after this wonderful draft, after we finally wrap this shit up. Joe, it's one of those drafts that if you didn't like it, and you don't understand it, then you don't need to be a Giant fan because you're too fucking stupid.
I'll say it like this. Even if you don't universally agree with every pick, there's no way you can not like this draft. Plain and simple. Even if you don't think they should have traded up for Malachi Fields, you still have to love this overall draft. Even if you think they should have taken Caleb Downs instead of Big Francis and done something else at guard at say round 4 or change some things up, you still have to love this overall draft for a couple of reasons. You've been mentioning it for a couple of days now. Number one, they picked football players. In many cases, football players with elite athletic traits, but football players. And number two, they're picking football players that fit what John Harbaugh wants to do. They're fitting players. They're picking players that are going to fit this system. You know, you pick the best press corner in the draft.
Who fits
what does your defensive coordinator want to do? Let's play press. Hey, that'll work. We want to be a bigger football team. What do? Get the biggest, largest wide receiver in the draft. So even if you have picks you can take umbrage with, overall, you have to love the body of work because what you're watching is a plan come together. You're watching a coach run an organization who is comfortable in his own skin, has the confidence to believe that, hey, I'm here for the long haul and I'm going to put my fingerprints on this and I am going to establish a program. This is not about 2026 or 2027 or 2028. It's about establishing a program. That's how you have 2 losing seasons in 18 years, and that's what he's looking to bring here. Plain and simple.
At the end of the day, you bring up someone like Malik Fields. Malik Fields had a mid first round grade on him going in towards the middle of the season. It was, and I say this before, and I've said this a million times. He is the anti JJ McCarthy and Mike Mamula. His combine was terrible. His pro day wasn't that great. He chucked it up on the 40 time. I mean, I think he ran on 11.5 on the 40. No, he was a 4.65. But if you take a look at his body, and if you look at his body of work And people always point out the highlights, how spectacular they are. But this is also a guy that, if you look at his highlights, always has 2-3 guys draped on him, which means he is not creating physical separation at the college level. But in my opinion, like I said, and I'm curious to get yours, in my opinion, though, he's a football player. He's not, he is an athlete, because all these guys are venerable athletes, but he's not an athlete first and a football player second. And when you have someone that understands the game, you have someone that understands his role, it works out, and you usually can get more production out of them immediately over a guy that may have all these athletic intangibles but doesn't know how to play the game. How do you talk to people that say, well, he was a guy that was at West Virginia for 4 years, his best season wasn't even his 5th year, and if you actually take a look at the way he played, he was covered quite well a lot of times during his own highlight reels?
Couple of things. If you look at the numbers at Notre Dame compared to Virginia, Notre Dame ran the ball a ton because they happen to have the first 2 running backs in the 2026 draft and a freshman quarterback that probably couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So they just didn't throw the ball a lot. So that's why those numbers went down. And he was sharing touches with a drafted tight end in Eli Raritan. So he wasn't going to see the amount of targets that he saw at Virginia. So I discount that. As far as not being open on the college level, it is a concern because we've seen that these big body targets who make a living as contested catch guys on the college level, we've seen a mixed bag as far as how it translates. You know, on one side, you have an Akeem Nicks and a T. Higgins, and then on the other side, you have guys just simply can't get open. You can name thousands of them. The thing is, the best of them are guys that are that are excellent route runners. Malachi Fields is not there yet. In 2026, you can bring him in, and there's some things he can do. We see spots where he can win. So I don't see him being the number 2 receiver this year. I see him on the field in a limited role as they develop him. In 2027, hopefully they've added to that route tree. They've improved the route running and the precision of that. And then maybe he grows into a number 2 receiver. But I think if you're looking at Malachi Fields and saying he's got to be a number 2 receiver in 2026, I think you're barking up the wrong tree because I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Oh, I think the fan base is crazy that way, but I don't think the organization. It's like the venerable Jack Kelly. You know, if he's going to have 22 sacks this year. He's already give him a gold jacket now, and that's why he got drafted in the 6th round. Bad Dog has him listed, or is asking the question: Is he the best? Is he the best 6th round pick ever?
No.
And I laugh though because this is a guy that if you watched him play at BYU, he does one thing well. And that's rush the passer. And that's it. He's not, like I said, we joke about it, but it's not overly funny that the fact that he doesn't tackle well in space, which is kind of important for, I don't know, a linebacker.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's, you know what, if you ranked up things with the linebacker, being able to tackle in space would probably be in the top 2.
Yeah.
Number 1 would probably be finding your fucking helmet.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's, you know, but again, in my thought process is he's a football player. He's a guy that even at BYU understood his role and played his role and defined his role in college that way. And like I said, if he makes it as a 6th rounder, I'll be shocked. But he's also a guy that if he made it as a special teams player, I would not be stunned.
I could see him being a special teams ace. I don't know. The production maybe does develop into something. It's stranger things have happened, but to anoint him coming out of the draft as the best 6th rounder ever when, you know, off of some nice looking on the surface numbers, statistics wise, wasn't
there a quarterback taken in the 6th round in 2000?
Yeah, he was pretty good, wasn't he?
Yeah, wasn't he like a 7-time Super Bowl champion or something?
And
wasn't there a running back?
Yeah, that was pretty good running back.
2,000 yards, Terrell something. And wasn't Jason Kelsey, who was a 6-time first team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion. Wasn't he taken in the 6th round? And what's that guy? What was that
hit a
center
here, haven't you?
Yeah, what is that center in Minnesota that was a 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, 14-year career? Greg Lloyd. Greg Lloyd.
So
5 times All-Pro.
Uphill battle will be the best 6th-round draft pick ever. And if he makes the team, special teams ace, who knows? Maybe the pass rush chops are there, and he develops into like a Nick Herbig out of Pittsburgh.
But listen,
I don't know what he's going to be.
For anyone to post anywhere that, and I'm not just picking on Bad Dog, but anyone to post anywhere that he potentially could be the best 6th-round pick ever in NFL history.
Yeah, well,
you might want to, I don't know, crack open a modern era history book. You don't even have to go into the old days. When I remember back in the 70s, you don't have to go back that far. Even I know stuff from the 50s.
Draft was 12 rounds, and being a 6th-round pick wasn't being even near the end of the draft.
I remember, and I don't remember it, but I remember reading about and seeing things when there was 20 rounds, when there was 16 rounds.
Territorial draft.
Draft. I'm not that old, Joe.
Well, you read about it, though.
I read about it. But
I mean, I didn't.
But to literally say best 6th-round ever, I nearly fell off my fucking chair. But that is, and to AJ Marshall's point. Well, no, it wasn't AJ Marshall. Well, I'm going to get them. We got Joe Ferris' point. I'm going to get to AJ. It's like it's hopium. It's the hopium of some of these guys that they just think that every single pick that the Giants have is going to be the greatest pick in NFL history.
Well, they hated the draft, but the guy they latched onto of all these players is Jack Kelly. We don't like Arvell Reese because, well, where's he going to play? Coach has a plan. He's
not going to play tackle because someone already came out and said he's going to play guard.
Right. So we have a plan for these guys. They have elite production, elite measurables, elite traits. Those guys you didn't like, but you fell in love with a 6th-round pick because he had some glitzy stats, some at Weber State and some at BYU. Had limited measurables, had some decent, decent numbers as far as like combine type numbers. That guy you fell in love with because he rode BMX bikes at age 5. Makes a nice story. That you fell in love with, but elite guys who can actually be frontline players. The guy you got in round 2 that should have went in round 1 that fits us perfectly, that is an elite athlete and an elite football player. That you can't wrap your head around, but Jack Kelly, we're in love with.
Well, don't worry. Jack Kelly makes Micah McFadden look like Carl Banks. I don't know. Neither one of them can tackle. If there was a tackling contest between Jack Kelly and Micah McFadden, I think it would be a draw. Because I can't see either one. I can't see either one of these two lining up a class. If there was ever, and because a lot of these football players in the offseason like to have clinics. They like to have football clinics. And I'm going to teach the kids. I'm going to teach the young. If Jack Kelly or Micah McFadden ever had a tackling clinic, I would be like, son, no, you are not. You are going to learn lacrosse because I am not going to deal with it. Jack Kelly sucks. Maybe I'm not saying he sucks, but I'm just saying this. He's a 6th-round pick. And I think I had him like 32nd on my linebacker board and as an undrafted free agent. But like I said, you have 3 6th-round picks.
This 6th-round picks. The guy I'm most excited about is Bobby Jameson Travis because he knows his role and he has shown that he can play that role very well. He can clog up the middle. He can hold up at the point of attack against double teams. He's actually fast enough in the run game. And when I mean fast, a quick first step. He shoots gaps and he brings down ball carriers for actually negative plays. I mean, he gives you less than nothing in the pass game. But as you've said many times here,
he's a 2-down guy.
What I want him to do on passing downs is sit on the bench. You don't even want him in a game. He's a 2-down run plugger. He excels at that. And there are some issues. You get him in this building. You have him work with this coaching staff. And I have a feeling 20 snaps a game, backing up DJ Reader in 2026. But in 2027, he has the potential to be DJ Reader in his Cincinnati years. I think he's that good at stopping the run and keeping linebackers clean. I think he can have that kind of impact. But he's a 6th-round pick, so we'll see.
Well, it's the thing is 6th-round defensive lineman, 5th-round defensive lineman usually can play for a couple of years and have an impact. I mean, so that's the thing. And we've talked about this before. You don't have to grab a defensive lineman like 17th overall. I mean, you can find a guy that does the same thing. And I've said it a million times before. If he doesn't give up 5.2 yards a carry and he's under that, it's already an improvement.
As you've said many times, when it comes to interior defensive tackles, if they don't show any pass rush juice, they're not getting taken in day 1. At the earliest, day 2, but most of those guys are guys you can pick up in day 3, and they can have lengthy careers. We keep mentioning DJ Reader. DJ Reader, I believe, was a 5th-round pick. We've mentioned Shelby Harris. Shelby Harris was a 7th-round pick. You can get 2-down run pluggers that can make a real impact and stay in this league a long time and start late in the draft. And we may have just got one.
And that's the thing. They can start late in the draft. Like I said, I'm not saying the kid's starting. I mean, like I said, he to me is going to be this guy.
26, no.
Yeah, no. He is this guy that's going to be there. He is this guy that makes sense. He is a guy that, if, like I said, he is a 2-down guy, and that's what he is. And you don't need him from anything else because you have a plethora of pass rushers. You have Darius Alexander, who's going to come in obvious pass rushing downs, and you're not going to have enough spaces anyways to play him to flood the zone because you're going to be bringing in all your pass rushers and moving some of them on the defensive line and some in the linebacking core.
Well said.
And that's what it's going to be. I love this. Let's be honest. A high motor white guy gets massive amounts of love, right or wrong. That's just the way it is. I don't believe that, but ask Jerry Cooney. That's all I'm going to say. If you're a boxing aficionado, go ask Jerry Cooney about the overhyped white guy, because that was probably the most massive overhyped white guy in boxing history in this last century. So,
I mean, handpicked opponents. They got names, but all the names he fought were between 40 and 45 years. He fought Jimmy Young when he was 40. He fought Ken Norton when Ken Norton was like 38 years old. So they put him in. You'd look at the record, say, wow, look, he beat all these names. It was 10 years after their prime. Then they put him in against Larry Holmes, and Larry Holmes just embarrassed him.
Well, it's funny, though, because people don't understand this, that I'm not going to get into boxing, but I love boxing. I'm a boxing aficionado. Tex Randall Cobb fought Larry Holmes. Tex Randall Cobb, who's also in the movies and a lot of other places, was a pretty good fighter. He was also a kickboxer. He went on to do later in his career. People forget he fought Larry Holmes right after Jerry Cooney. And Holmes, it went 15, and Holmes did win an unanimous decision, but it was a total tale of difference of 2 fights in reference to the white guy. I love this. Keyshawn Bruce says Bad Dog should stay up with testosterone, steroids, because it's affecting his mindset. And he's an astute guy, but how do you literally put down in your thing best 6th-round pick ever? Question mark. I don't know. I don't get that, but that's all right. Like I always say, I'm not put on the earth to get it. Don't forget to hit the like button. We're only at 69 likes. We need to be at 85 likes. I do have to check out today at 12:30 because I got shit I got to do. Dogs have to go to the vet. I just got the battery in the truck, but I got to check the alternator. If you take a look at the first 2 picks, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I'm still kind of befuddled by the fact that if you look at it, there was, and it's not the New York media, it's not the national media, it's not the beat writers that cover the team, it's not anyone with football acclimate, but it's a segment of the fan base and content creators that don't get or don't understand what they did with these first 2 picks and how stellar these 2 picks really were in regards to improving this team, not only in 2026, but hopefully for the next 10 years. And could you explain to people, because I'm tired of fucking explaining this to people, how this is not Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal 2.0?
It's just not. Because plain and simple, what you've drafted in Arvell Reese was probably the number 1 or number 2 overall prospect in this draft. He fell to you at 5. And there is a plan to use him. He fell to you. He dropped to you like a stone at 5. They ran that card up so fast because they got tremendous value and got possibly the best player in the draft. And everybody that keeps saying, well, where are we going to play? We have all these edges. We got this. He's a stack will linebacker. If you talk to Arvell Reese and you talk to Matt Patricia, they had him rush the passer from either the linebacker spot as a blitzer, and sometimes they brought him off the edge. But they did not do any work with him at Ohio State as an edge rusher. They didn't work on any technique. They didn't teach him anything as far as being an edge player. Ask Reese, ask Patricia. All the teaching was for him to be a stack will backer. And that's what he does best right now. If you want to turn him into an edge at some point, so be it. I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan, will backer, stack backer, short and long term, who blitzes from all over the place. The thing about this defense is you're going to have guys coming from all over the place. He can come from any gap. You'll have Burns and Carter on the edge. You're going to have guys coming from different places. This is a unique chess piece and weapon, and we're going to use his skills, and we're going to use what he was taught and where he excels, and it's on film, and that's as a stack backer. It was a brilliant move. You got a 10-year stud who could wear a gold jacket potentially. And in Big Francis, you have 4 of your starting offensive linemen returning, and then you bring in a bell cow. Plain and simple, plug and play right guard. Again, you are projecting because you're moving a guy from tackle inside, but his play style, his build, all says guard. I'm a lot more comfortable with kicking tackles inside to guard when I'm keeping them on the same side of the line. The projection I hate is when they take a guy who's played the right for 99 or 100% of his snaps. They say, well, we'll move him to the left side. Well, it's like asking a person who writes right-handed to write left-handed. That is a tough projection. This one I'm much more comfortable with. These 2 picks are brilliant. Tremendous value. They fit what you want to do. They are not only elite athletes, but much more importantly, they are elite football players. Because if you use elite athletic traits, combine workouts, RAS scores, and all that crap, you use it to supplement what you see on tape. And if those things match up with what you see on tape as a football player, then you have something, and that's exactly what we got here.
And to Slider's point here, he's talking about Malachi Fields. He's not in a lot. I've seen this comparison before. He's not Plexico Burress.
No.
I mean, Plexico Burress, you got to, and I don't want to get too deep into Plexico Burress, but he set single season records over in the Big Ten at Michigan State. I don't know if his 65 passes is still a record. He had I can't remember, I think like 25 touchdowns. He was, at the time he left, he was like 5th in receiving for the school, in reference to school. He had the record 255 yards and 10 catches against Michigan in that big Michigan game. And he was an 8th overall pick. While the 40 times are similar, because I think Plex ran a 4.59, they're just totally 2 different players, 2 different stratospheres. I'm not saying that one day, and that Malachi can't be a Plexico Burress type player, but they're totally 2 different wide receivers. In my mind, Plexico Burress was a football player, but he was, like you were mentioned with Reese, he's a football player, but he's also an elite athlete. And that's what I think Plexico Burress was. So that's why when people talk about that, it's kind of fun. Great. Thomas, you're never late.
Malachi Fields is not an elite athlete. And again, I'm mixed on him because I don't love him. I personally don't love him. People I respect, mixed bag. For every one person I see that says this guy's going to make it, I see one that says, nah, man. So I'm kind of mixed. This is one where I have to trust in the fact that Harbaugh and his team have a lot more information at their disposal on this player than I have. GPS testing, much more game film. They've just got more at their disposal than I have. I have to trust in that fact, number one. And number two, he fits what they want to do. That's enough for me.
That's the key. He is not he is not going to play in the short intermediate routes.
No.
We've said it before. If you watch it, he cuts his routes off way too early at times, especially in the shorts. He takes too long to get off the line because of his size and because of the fact that he does not have the quickness and the speed that you would like to have for a guy that size. But he is a guy that's strong enough that he is going to fight his way off the line, but he's going to be more of a deep route guy, and he's going to be that bigger target downfield. And again, like I said, I understand why they did it. And like I said, I don't hate the player. I don't hate the pick. I did hate the compensation until my friend sent me the compensation chart and we did the math. But it is an interesting pick considering you have Malik Neighbors, you have Darnell Mooney, you still have Darius Slayton, you got Isaiah Likely, you still have Theo Johnson, so you're bringing in. I hope to God this finally puts the fucking rest of the OBJ shit.
It should. I mean, there's just no room. There's just no room. And I think you got to agree with me, Tim. This is a guy that you're bringing in. You're going to get a little something out of him this year. You're going to give him a taste. But this is really about getting him into your system for a year, adding to the route tree, refining the route running, and really seeing what this guy has as far as a potential elite number 3, strong number 2 receiver in 2027. It's not really about how much he produces in 2026.
Now he can block.
Oh,
He is a downfield blocker, which I think will help. No, there's no room for Hyatt. There's no room at the Hyatt. Go to the fucking Hilton because there's no room for Hyatt. We're fully booked. Get him the fuck out.
It's interesting. I saw you had Strider's comment down there about the Steve Smith video. Steve Smith doesn't like him at all.
No,
he really didn't like him. Steve Smith did not like. If you watch that video, he really doesn't like the route running. He said he was a guy, and not even question effort. It was more of it looked like he was fatigued. He ran a lot of routes where he just kind of loafed. I'm not getting the ball. And he kind of mailed it in. Steve Smith had some great concerns. And if you watch the Steve Smith video, you come out of that video, you're not high on Malachi Fields at all. But then you watch somebody else who you respect, and you come out very high. It's a very mixed bag on this player.
I talked to 2 people about Malachi Fields, 2 people that I trust. One person that still works in the NFL, one person that doesn't. And the person that works in the NFL said kind of the same things that we have been saying about him. He's going to be this guy that you're going to have to find something for him to do. He has talent, he has a role, and he has a response. He'll find his responsibility, and it's going to be more on the deep routes. It's not going to, like I said, he's not going to make his bread. He's not going to be on the quick hitch. He's not, because he's just not fast. That's just not what he does. But then I have a friend that worked at one point in time as a wide receiver coach. He loves him.
Yeah.
He's like, it's the big target. It's the big catch radius that Jackson Dart doesn't have a guy outside of maybe Isaiah Likely now that has that big catch radius that, if you make them, because he even said Jackson, he's like, I love it because I always love when people throw things in my face. He's like, you've said it on the show before a million times, Tim, that Jackson Dart's deep pass isn't always as accurate as it should be. But if you got a guy that's 6'4" with this huge catch radius and a 6'9" wingspan with his arms, you're going to have someone that's going to come down with some of these balls that Jackson Dart's going to mail. And he's like, and that's kind of what he thinks what his thought process was, especially on the deep route, that he may not gain the amount of separation that you need, but he is going to be a guy that if you put the ball in the right spot, if you put the ball positionally the way a quarterback should, he is going to either not be a contested catch, but he should have an opportunity to come down with some deeper balls and have some, and give some physicality to the wide receiver room. So like you said, everyone's got something different to say.
Right. Get a guy. Harbaugh's looking at it for the New York Giants. He's not looking at it for the other 31 teams. For his team, his offense, his quarterback, he sees an immediate fit and something that he can expand upon later on. How can I argue with him? 18 years as a head coach, 2 losing seasons, and I talked about it. And I talked about sports for 25 years, so I can't argue with him. I got to give him a pass on this till he proves me wrong.
Oh, well, you can argue with him. That's what you do on YouTube. You always have to argue. Make sure you're hitting the like. People, we're stuck. We still have 112 watching over there, 100 something watching over there. Hit the like button. We're only at 71 likes. I need to be at 85 likes. I gotta take 2 dogs to the vet. I gotta check an alternator still. I gotta go pick up the kids at school, and I gotta do all this and still go to get some food shopping done and get all this done by 4 o'clock, and I'm still here. So at least you can get up to 85 fucking likes. Okay, let's exactly. Keyshawn's making these guys miss tackles practice. Tackles was shifty as a tall wide. I'm not going to keep talking about I'm late. Hey, Jack is late. Hey, what's up, Jack? Late for the lunch break, but I love the draft. I've already said this. If you take a look at this draft, Joe, on paper, you can never judge a draft till after 3-4 years. Right. But the talent that fell to the Giants in the first 3 rounds, and we went through all the picks going back to about 2009. Outside of the Andrew Thomas, Xavier McKinney draft. And I loved the day 1 of that draft. I did a video about that, and I got blasted because I said he snatched defeat outside the jaws of victory. And it was just, I thought the rest of it was crap. But I take a look at what the Giants are doing. I actually, like I said, you go look even at the later rounds, everyone has a role. If every guy and that's probably not going to happen, but if every guy made this team, you could say, okay, this is a role, John, in going back to John's 18 years in Baltimore, you could be like, okay, this is a role that John will have him do this. John will have him do this. The coaching staff will have them do this. It's almost like it's weird because we don't usually get to see this. It's almost like they drafted guys that made sense.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it in the early rounds, the premium rounds, you got elite football players, elite fit to your scheme, and elite athletic traits. As you move to the middle rounds, you got elite fit, elite football players, limited athletics. As you got towards the late rounds, again, you either got elite athletic traits, you got production, you got fit. It was a well-crafted plan. Every one of the football players they drafted, the common thread is fit all the way through. It fits what they want to do. In the premium picks, they not only fit, they're elite football players and elite athletes. As you move down, you've got to make sacrifices somewhere. You know, you're drafting guys in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th rounds. Well, you're not going to get elite fit, elite athleticism, and elite football player. Something's going to give. In Harbaugh's case, usually it's elite athleticism that gives. It's going to be elite football players and elite fit will sacrifice RAS scores and athleticism to get guys that fit what we want to do, because we can find something that they do well that fits what we want to do and make use of their talents, even if it's in a limited way.
I love this one. Joe Ferry says, the only thing I don't like about Hood is that our fan base is going to give him a horrific nickname. Listen, I can't say anything. You know, Joe Ferris, I can't say anything because I called DeAndre Baker Nino Brown, and I did a whole Nino Brown video. So, you know, I can't say. I call him the Nino Brown of the NFL. So, I mean, I can't say anything. Can you make him a tight end, Tim? That was another question with Malachi Fields, and the answer is he has the physical traits to be a tight end. He has, but again, I'm not going to bring a guy in. I'm not going to trade 3 picks to move up 30 spots to transition a guy to a tight end when I need him as a big body target on the outside. One of the biggest issues last year, especially when Malik Neighbors went down, was, and Malik Neighbors isn't this big body guy, that there was no full-size target downfield that you felt comfortable throwing any type of contested catch to, you know, in the Giant offense outside of Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson disappeared, you know. I got to remember, Malik Neighbors is listed at 6 feet. I've seen Malik Neighbors in person. Malik Neighbors is 6 feet. I might be closer to 6'9" then. I'm just because I go to the rookie draft day. I go to the rookie symposiums, and I was looking at him like, like you're 6 feet. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm gonna say I'm not gonna move him. I'm not gonna move him inside just yet, because I want to see what he can do. Because, like I said, there are plenty of guys that we said couldn't make the. You look at Jerry Rice. Couldn't create his own separation, didn't have the speed, but then you get him out on the football field, and there's a difference between straight line speed and football speed. And I've said it before, just because you can run 4.2 doesn't mean you can do that running straight on the field, because, well, you know what? They might touch you a little bit. They might bump you a little bit. You may not be able to get up to your full acceleration at that point in time.
Well, but Usain Bolt did in shoulder pads, you'd make him a wide receiver. He's fast.
Yeah, we've seen Ronaldo Nehemiah.
Yes, Skeets, baby.
Yeah, man, everyone loved him. Hurdler too. Willie Gault actually also track bobsled. He actually was a guy that put up at least 1,000-yard seasons with the Bears. But Ronaldo Nehemiah was this guy that everyone was in love with, is enamored with his speed, literally world-class fucking speed as a world-class sprinter. You put
shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah, you put the pads on him. You ran shorts and t-shirt, looked great. Put the fucking pads on him. It was like, what the fuck, man? I'm supposed to run with this shit on? Yes. And they get to hit.
The thing about Jerry Rice. He ran 4.6 in shorts and a t-shirt. Still ran 4.6 when you put 20 pounds of pads on him, and was an incredibly nuanced route runner with great hands.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's if you build a football team based on RAS scores, you will have a track and field team. And track and field teams don't win football games. Football teams do.
Ask Al Davis.
Yeah.
Well, you can't ask Al Davis because he's dead. But if you could ask Al Davis would tell you. You can ask Mike Davis, but Al Davis was enamored, even going back to the 70s, with speed guys.
Yeah,
too bad.
Beyond you Bleav.
Yeah, too bad 80% of them didn't fucking pan out. Joe, in your expert opinion, if you taking a look at this draft, who do you think is going to have the most immediate impact? Who do you think is going to struggle? And who do you think is probably not even going to make the roster? I know it's early.
I mean, most immediate impact are the 2 first rounders.
One player. One player.
One player?
One player. One player in each category.
I'm going to go Big Francis. Big Francis, big impact. Who's going to struggle? Malachi Fields. Who's not going to make the roster? Jack Kelly.
Okay. Good. I like it. Bad Dog got mad at me. Because I posted, what about that Tom Brady guy? He goes, you know me, I would think you would know I was being facetious.
Oh. He wants to take it back. Can't that? No givesy backsies, man.
No givey backs. No givey backs. Come on, bro.
You're married to it, and Tim is going to call you out on it.
You know what? People call me out all the time. I don't take offense to it. That's okay. What does Oprah always say? Still going. Excitement is back the excitement is back in the building. I hope they do the rookie symposium this year, because I want to go. But because I'm curious to see these guys. And to your point, I actually think that Big Francis is going to have the most immediate impact. Only because of the fact that while I think Reese is going to start, I think there's going to be a learning curve for him more than with Francis, even though Francis is learning a new position. But you're going to give Francis an entire training camp, all of preseason, to solidify himself in that right guard position. And I think his ability, and if you talk to this kid and you hear the stories about this kid, he's like you said, he's a football player. And I think he's going to do more than his due diligence to become good at his trade, at his craft, at that right guard position, until one day they may tell him, hey, we're going to move you to tackle. And I'm not saying Arvell Reese is not going to be that way, but I think with Reese, you have Kayvon Thibodeau, you have Brian Burns, you have Abdul Carter, you have Tremaine Edmonds. There's going to be a lot of guys on that defense immediately that are potentially going to be making the tackles. Hopefully, are going to be making the tackles, and potentially should be. You hope Abdul Carter is better than he was last year. And in my hope, and I was going to ask you about this. My hope this year for Abdul Carter is the fact that while as we watched him play more snaps, as his snap counts got higher because of Kayvon Thibodeau going down, the biggest issue with him was his production outside of the Raider game went down. He didn't get better. He got more exposed. I'm hoping, and maybe I don't know what your feeling is on this. I'm hoping that maybe you cut his snap count down to 45-50%. And use him as a situational pass rusher and create mismatches. Because I've said this before, I'm going to keep saying it a million times. Reese is what people thought Abdul Carter was, and that was never that. So Reese to me is going to be that linebacker, but I do think that maybe, and we had Jerry Oslowski on that played 10 years over with the Bills with Jim Kelly. He even said, and he's a huge Penn State guy. He was like, I don't like him. I don't like him as a full-time player. I think he's a situational pass rusher. And I kind of think, I don't know what your thoughts is, that maybe we limit his snaps to 50%, Abdul Carter, and use him as a guy and create packages, create the mismatches so he can have. I said it when he came in the rookie season. If you played him situationally, I saw 10.5 sacks. I said, if you played him for an extended period of time, I saw 3. So I'm just kind of curious what you think the role should be for Abdul Carter this year.
Oh, I tell you, I like that idea. And we have the coaching staff here that can do that. The previous regime, there was no way they could do that because the pressure was going to be on them. Oh, he's the number 3 overall pick. You got to play him. You got to play him. Harbaugh didn't draft him, and Harbaugh's Harbaugh. He's going to do whatever it takes to get the most out of that player. And if it's playing him 50% of the snaps and creating mismatches, and that makes him an elite player by getting 10, 12 sacks out of him at 50 or 60% of the snaps, I'm all for it. I think they have enough mix and match pieces along that front 7 that they can do exactly that. I hope there's more to him than having to limit his snaps to get the most out of him, because then it was a bad pick. But the realities are, if that's what it takes to get the most out of him, do it. And this staff will do just that.
I love it with Mr. Perry. He said, Mr. Perry says, yeah, Carter better play better. Don't worry, AJ says, it's okay. We have Kelly to take his spot. Yeah,
and for those that are all excited about the 2 sacks against the Raiders did half the team didn't show up, and the ones that were there were like mummies. I mean, when you got 2 teams playing each other in the last couple of weeks of the season that are out of everything, anything they do there is worthless. It's like there's no value to it. Oh my God, this guy has found himself, and Charlie Bullen is now a brilliant defensive coordinator. Look at the numbers after he took over. He took over in garbage time. Back end of football season like that is like garbage time in basketball. It is not valuable for evaluation. You just have to get through it and hope nobody gets hurt.
I loved it because I think it was the second Cowboy and second Eagle game with Abdul Carter. He got a running start. I think it was the Dallas game. He got a running start, and I can't remember who the right tackle was. He literally got like a 6-yard running start. Ran right into the guy, and it was literally like watching a cartoon.
That's not encouraging.
No, and it was
That's
like
not encouraging at all.
And when you get shot put in preseason by the 3rd string tight end, I was at that game. We were sitting in the suite. You get shot put by the 3rd string tight end and didn't even make the Jets. Your strength is probably not your forte. So that's why I keep thinking you need to use his speed. And we all know that speed rushers can easily be negated if you just push them to the outside. If you're a good, smart tackle, you increase their route to the quarterback by trying to move them to the outside more. You try to push them closer to the sideline because, to say the straightest distance the fast way between 2 points is straight. So if I'm looping around too much, and that was the biggest problem with Kayvon Thibodeau, is we talked about it all the time, that the motherfucker never cut it back inside. He would loop so far out, and then the one season where he had 10.5 sacks or 11.5 sacks, where it was, he would cut it back inside. And I remember James Williams and I being on games like, what the fuck is he doing? He's cutting it back inside. I'm like, yeah, He's like, that's what he's doing. Tim, forgive my selfishness, but if you're still got time, would you be able to try to join again? Unless I have to go, but you know what, Thomas? You had a problem, and you're not being selfish. You're actually very nice. I'm gonna put the link in the chat for you real quick, Thomas. I'll be late. Besides, I don't feel like getting a fecal sample anyways from the dog.
So you all right?
Yeah, it's shot season.
Yeah, and I think hurt his back. He was fine this morning. All of a sudden, he's got that slow gait to him. So I might have a vet trip today or tomorrow.
The one that's got to go to the vets. She's one. So she's just going, and she's a rescue that's a little still twitchy. So she doesn't like people. The only person she likes is me. So yeah, that's what I do. Let's see if Thomas. We'll see if Thomas can do this. Thomas.
Hey guys, can you hear
me? We could hear you last time. Could you hear us?
Yes, I can finally hear you, and I thank you for making the time, Tim. I'll try not to keep you. It's just nice to talk to you in person. And
no worries, man. No worries. So where are you calling from?
So I'm currently in the UK. I'm actually getting ready to PCS next Tuesday. I'll be in McCord, Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, wow, okay.
I tried New Jersey. They didn't need me there.
You don't want to go to New Jersey unless you're from New Jersey.
No, but I'd like to see a Giants game, and traveling from there's a little easier than West Coast. I'm actually originally from Las Vegas, so.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so you got a little bouncing around going on there. So where in well, I'm not going to ask you where in UK. Well, where in UK are you? Whereabouts?
So military. I mean, it's fine, but I mean, our base is near Brandon, so I don't know if you guys have been to the UK, but it's a military base. I tell people, middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's why I said I knew you couldn't say exactly.
Yeah,
where I come from a military family, so that's why. That's why I was like, I know what you're talking about. So that's why I know what you're talking about and not knowing what you're talking about at the same time.
Of course.
So huge Giant fan, I assume.
Oh yeah, actually, ironically enough, my mother's father was again the big local, from New York. Because again, I grew up in Vegas, but that's how I became a Giants fan. Kind of again, my father passed away, but this was before they moved to Vegas. Raiders fan, so. Yes, I know my teams have sucked most of my lifetime, but Raiders and Giants fans are loyal to the core. Kind of had to be. There's no bandwagon Raiders fan.
I was like, there's not many bandwagon Raiders fans. There's not many people now in the last 20 years or 30 years of the Raiders going, you know what? Jeez, man, I really want to jump on that Raider bandwagon. They are a really good 6-win team.
6 wins. That's a good season. I'm usually used to 2 to 4.
I was going to say, if you're lucky. So how are you feeling about this Giant draft?
So again, I'm not an expert like any fan, but I actually used to years ago watch a little more college football, so I'd have a better opinion. But honestly, I'm very happy with it. My only skepticism, and that's why I wanted to get your guys' opinion, because again, remember a couple years ago we had 2 top 10 picks. We had Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, who were supposed to be these can't miss prospects. So outside of the PTSD from that, I think they're good players, but it goes back to, again, forgive my animatedness. Again, we're fans. Sometimes we hit, we're right with our opinions, sometimes we're wrong. But again, Tim, I know I've actually been a big me and you have a lot of the same opinions of Joe Schoen. Now again, like everybody, coach, GM, year to year, I sing their praises when I feel they deserve it, and I will be the first to be like, okay, you need to be fired. Sorry, no, again, I'm trying to not to
take your time.
Not straight from your direct question, but it goes back to, remember that year Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal were supposed to be these can't miss prospects. So my question is, was it coaching, or again, because I've always said, Tim, you're one of the more just respectable, you're a astute fan. I mean, you can have an opinion, you'll be wrong, you'll own up to it most of the time. Since I've been watching, you seem to be pretty right.
I'm never wrong.
Well, at least
Makes
not
it
from
easier
what
to
I've
know.
seen.
Oh, what the fuck you talking about, man? I'm never wrong. I'm just not always right.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for the correction. But again, it goes back to that. Like, as much as I want to on Joe Schoen, and again, as we know with any draft, as years go, you'll see how things progress. How did we miss on those two? Because again, I know like Mel Kiper, he's always been terrible. My God, don't be started on him. But like these experts are just that, in my opinion. They're TV personalities. They always, proverbial, the top whatever prospects, and then whatever happens. Because I've always been a fan of good coaching. I've seen it. I've seen, again, Max Crosby, not to make it about my Raiders, but it goes back to that draft. He's a 4th-round pick.
Yeah.
And my thing is just looking at his career, because, again, my Raiders don't have a good history of developing players. So, however we got lucky with him, again, he's a 4th-round pick. So, nobody can say, oh, he was this hot, top-missed prospect. He went in the 4th round. If he would have went first overall, because, again, that draft was Cleveland Farrell, poor kid. If we would have flipped and drafted Max Crosby, again, draft fans, the initial reaction, draft experts and fans, what are we doing? Max Crosby, who's that? But again, it goes back to you're a GM. You're paid to do your research, scouting, all of that. Screw the fans' opinion. Screw the media output. If you, like I said, if you drafted Max Crosby first round of that draft, here we are years later, we would have looked at Mike Mayock at the time and been like, that's freaking genius. That goes back to Joe Schoen. Sorry for the long-winded response. My point being with Thibodeau and Neil, where did we go wrong? Because, again, I know media-wise, those were top prospects we couldn't miss. How did we screw that up?
I'm going to tell you exactly where we went wrong.
Please.
I'm going to tell you, when that draft came out, I was not upset about the Kayvon Thibodeau pick. I hated the Evan Neal pick because everyone I talked to about Evan Neal was that he was going to have and immediately when someone tells you they're going to have difficulty with the speed rusher and you're going to make them your left tackle or your right tackle, that to me was a huge red flag. The Kayvon Thibodeau thing was weird though, because as I did research with the pick, and I actually had Kayvon Thibodeau and Devin Lloyd as my 2 picks. But the thing was this, as I was talking about Kayvon Thibodeau, I had friends that are in and around Oregon. And I had some friends that were close to the Oregon organization at the school itself. And they were like, Kayvon Thibodeau is not what you think he is. And I said, okay, expand. And he goes, he is a guy that if you watch, he takes plays off. He does not give full consistent effort on his pass rushing skills. He wasn't a weight room guy. He wasn't, they would say he's not while he'll show some great highlights, he was not this guy that they kept telling me this, and I've did videos on. He's like, he's not the guy you think he is. And I go back and I watched a lot of the tape at Oregon. Like I said, I don't watch just highlights. I watch the films, and I only watch a couple of games. And I'm like, well, I don't see where he's dogging it. I don't see where he's taking plays off. I don't see where. And my one friend was like, well, watch him because, and I laugh because he stands a lot like this. He goes, watch the way he stands before he pass rushes. And I was like, okay. He goes, you always watch, he's always got his hands on his hips. And I always, and even when I played, they always told you, don't fucking put your hands on your hips. Because that makes it look like you're gassed. And he goes, he always does that. Now, being 4 years watching the Giants, I'm like, yeah, he always seems like he's just not has that second gear, doesn't have that second level. And everything that they told me about him at Oregon, all that really came to fruition the first year. And I was like, well, shit. I was like, these guys, I was 100% wrong. These guys were right. And I had friends, like I said, that 2 people that worked at the university and they're no longer there told me that he was going to be a bust. He was like, he could be a 5-sack guy. He goes, but unless he comes back with a concerted effort, and they said the problem with Kayvon is he talks a lot, but when things go bad, you notice that he then gets defensive, which we noticed a couple times during the bad seasons, that he would get defensive, that he would blame everyone else, but his lack of effort in play. And I always go back to that loss in the Jet game, where if he comes around the corner and makes the sack, game's over, but he kind of slows up and it's like, okay, well, I can't believe he just made that pass. But he was a guy that he just wasn't an effort guy. And listen, I never liked Evan Neal. I saw Evan Neal as a issue and a bust coming out of the draft, just because of the fact that immediately when you have people tell you he's going to need to work on his footwork because he's slow coming out of his stance, and when he slows coming out of his stance, he loses balance and he's going to have a problem with speed rushers. I'm like, well, why the fuck is he going to be a tackle?
If I may, and I appreciate, thank you so much for that, but that goes back to, again, and I know you've got, like I said, resources and people that you trust all around, but it goes back to, again, and again, I want to emphasize this, since I've been watching you for a long time, I agree with you on Joe Schoen, if not about everything, I'd say about 95 to 98% of his tenure. He's an NFL GM. I understand it's not all on him. He's got scouts, but this goes back to, and I don't mean to belittle your excellent research and your resources, but again, we're fans. There's other people like yourself that can have those takes and be right too, but like, how NFL GM. How does an NFL GM with all these scouts not look at that? Because again, but things you just said from your resources, I'm sorry, I know I'm just a Kit fan. You look at that and I go, oh, I know the media says Cave wants to be this, top 5 pick, but that sounds like a 3rd round project.
But I'm going to tell you why. I'm even going to back up and tell you why. Because there's always that word, and Joe Spano is going to know this word. It's this word that is bandied about through the annals of sports history against every fucking sport you watch. Potential.
Of course.
He has potential to be
can get him in the building and fix him.
I was going to get to that next. We can fix him. He has with the right coaching. And you got to remember with these general managers, a lot of times they talk to their coaches, they talk to the position coaches and say, can you work with X? And they'll be like, Andre Patterson's going to be like, sure, I can make him the next Daniil Hunter. I can make him, the next X. But it's always that word, and it's the scariest fucking word in sports. Potential.
I appreciate that, and I want to let this gentleman chime in, and I'll hush up. But it kind of goes back to, again, I sung Brian Daboll's praises year 1 because, again, I saw, at the time, good coaching with bad talent. Years 2 and 3, I was pulling my hair because I was watching us lose games with piss poor coaching. Not him, but just overall. So, to your point, John Harbaugh, about the draft, am I confident? Yes, but also my bigger factor, we got John Harbaugh. I think he deserves the benefit of the doubt.
I don't think there's any question.
We'll do that. Go ahead,
I think
Joe.
what you see with a Thibodeau and a Neal, you got to remember with the Joe Schoen regime, you get this as we talked about. We think we can get him in the building and we can work with him and we can unlock whatever it is we're looking to unlock.
We can fix him.
Right. We can fix him. I've heard that many times in many buildings. That and the Shane regime didn't value, and I don't like to say character because these are football players. I'm not looking for choir boys. But you hear John Harbaugh saying, we want guys here who love football, who want to play football, who want to do it the Giant way, who value certain things. Joe Schoen and his people didn't look for that. And I'm not talking about knuckleheads. I'm talking about guys that left it all on the field. Because you could make a case Lawrence Taylor was a knucklehead, but he gave you everything got on the field. Then you get a Kayvon Thibodeau who doesn't give you everything he's got on the field. You're now seeing Evan Neal for the first time doing all this work that he needed to do for the last 4 years. So the realities are sometimes you got to dig into these guys. And part of being a football player and part of is how willing you are to work hard. See, if you ask any football player if they get to retire on their own, a lot of times it's elite football players. If they get to retire of their own accord, they'll usually tell you, it wasn't that I didn't want to play on Sunday anymore. I didn't want to do the work the other 6 days a week to get there. I notice a lot of the Joe Schoen guys aren't really willing to do the work the other 6 days a week to get to Sunday. You need to do that work those other 6 days, unless you're a very rare exception like a Lawrence Taylor, to get there and be great. Abdul Carter's a guy who doesn't like to work from Monday through Saturday. He wants to show up, put his helmet and shoulder pads on Sunday, and he just thinks he's going to be great. He wasn't. He's going to have to work harder. I think what you're going to start to see with the Harbaugh picks is these are guys who love football and are willing to work from Monday through Saturday to be great on Sunday. The Joe Schoen picks, a lot of them, if you look through them and why they failed, they're guys that didn't do that.
And to a point, though, you also have to be teachable.
Okay.
And I think that's I go to an instance in college, and I was always a linebacker. I was always a corner. I was always a safety, and our tight end room got decimated. So one of the position coach came up to the backfield coach and said, "Hey, listen, I've seen him play. He's got the instincts of a tight end. Can we borrow him for, I think he could be a really good tight end. I think he's coachable." Now, I was not an athletic player. Like I said, the only thing that stopped me from going to the NFL was injuries and lack of talent. I was not that guy, but I was a guy that was coachable. But you're only coachable to a point, because I remember lining up at the tight end second time during a spring practice, and I was just supposed to flare out, or I was supposed, depending on what the linebacker did, I was supposed to stay in the block, depending if the linebacker blitzed. So, the ball is snapped, but the problem was this: my initial instinct when I saw the linebacker coming now at me was to tackle the linebacker. And I did.
Oops.
And I remember this was back in the day when they could grab you by the face mask. They could pull you up by the shoulder pads. I remember the tight end coach came over, grabbed me by the face mask, walked me over. Now, this is a guy that loved me because I was coachable, took me and threw me on the other side of the line and says, "That's where you fucking belong."
That was the end of the tight end experiment.
And that was the end of the tight end experiment. But you have to be, but see, that's the thing though. You have to have, especially like Kayvon Thibodeau, you have to be receptive to the coaching. But then again, even if you're coachable, you have to understand how to play. And I just don't think he understood how to play. And to the comment about Reese, yes, Reese was the right move. There was no way in hell he should have dropped down to 5. That was a gift from God in reference to the Micah Parsons shit. That was just like, you know what? You screwed up.
You shall have Reese.
It was a thank you.
When you start letting your star players be your general manager, you trade for a 400-pound nose tackle that can't stop the run for the 10th overall pick. You cannot let your star players be your general managers. You can't let the fans be the general managers. And for all you fans and everybody out there that says, was he the right pick? When it was going to be Sonny Styles, you all complained, well, he's not a chew glass kind of linebacker. Well, this guy's a chew glass kind of linebacker. So you didn't want the guy that didn't chew glass. We get you the guy that chews glass. You don't want him either. So what do you want?
Do you mind if I ask you, you guys, because Tim, you both kind of hit on the head at coaching. Well, we all believe in good coaching. Remember, I hear what you said about Thibodeau, but especially Abdul because I know you kind of had your concerns last year, and I agree with you. Like I said, as much as I was happy to see him come on late in the season, again, Raiders fan, he had a good game against my terrible Raiders and some other bad teams. Again, I got to call a spade a spade. I love the kid, but do you think he can, again, Harbaugh's here, do you think he can get the best out of Abdul? Because, again, that's another premium pick. We need him to be a superstar. And on that note, Kayvon, I understand his trade value might not be great, but my thing is, again, like we've already discussed, his motivations and current ability. Yeah, he's young, but, like, why are we keeping him? Because we didn't pick up his 5th-year option, and do we really want to pay him, well, I don't know what the market is, but like $20 million plus for potentially one good season?
Well, with Kayvon, it's easy. I would not trade Kayvon. I already said that because you can never have enough pass rushers. Okay. You can always have enough guys that can't play the run, and we got plenty of those. But you cannot have enough pass rushers, and that's the thing. And the market value for Kayvon right now is so low. That's why I was laughing when they're like, "Well, they're going to give us a third. They're going to give us a 3rd round pick for him." I'm like, we're not getting a 3rd round pick for Kayvon, especially during the draft. I was like, that's just fucking insane. Somebody was smoking something. But with Kayvon, it's this. He's got a role on this team. He could be, again, you want to have all these pass rushers because you're probably going to run a 3-4 style defense, and you're going to need some guys rushing from the stand-up position on the outside. Now, why I'm not proficient at them holding down the edge against the run, but they can, Abdul Carter and Kayvon can rush the passer from the outside. And right now his value's so low. But think of it this way, Thomas, if you sit there and you're like, let's say he's 3 weeks from the trade deadline. Let's say he's playing well. Let's say he's got 7.5 sacks. There's going to be a contender out there that's going to be like, I need a pass rushing edge. I need a guy that can pass rush. You're going to get more for him now. And he's already getting the $14 million guaranteed either way.
Okay.
Yes, while it's going to be a rental, and yes, he is an unrestricted free agent. If you have someone that is literally in playoff contention, and hopefully the Giants are in playoff contention, we're not needing to make this, but you can literally just say, hey, listen, give me a 3. Give me a 3 and a 5. Or you think of it this way, if the Giants have a great season, he puts up 15 sacks, he leaves as a free agent, we get the compensatory pick, which would probably be a 3rd rounder anyways, which would be hopefully what we would have tried to get him for the draft, but no one was biting.
Right.
So it just makes sense that you're going to pay him $14 million guaranteed anyway. It just makes sense to hold on to him until his value's at the point, or to the point that you're just sick of him and you're halfway through the season, and maybe you just release him and you eat the other $6 million he's got left.
Okay.
And as far as the chances of these guys excelling. We believe in this coaching staff. We believe in this defensive coordinator. We think they're going to put these guys in the position to be the best version of themselves. And you had asked about Abdul Carter. Will he do the work? He ain't going to have to, because I'll tell you something. I've said it before. Harbs didn't draft him. He's going to be accountable. If he doesn't do the work from Monday through Saturday to play great on Sunday, he may not be here very long either.
Right on. Thank you.
I love this comment, though, Joe. Hard practice every day means a lot of injuries. Words from Zay Flowers. I remember 3-a-days.
Yeah.
I remember even with being over in Tampa in the early 2000s, I remember the 8 o'clock practice, and then I remember the 4 o'clock practice, and then lifting weights in between meetings afterwards. That's just, and I love this one. The smart, tough, dependable, but starts his own tenure out with Kevin Thibodeau and Evan Neal. My favorite sign in the Giant locker room always, and I always talk about this. And we were in the Giant locker room one day, and we were walking around, and we were leaving to go out in the field. And on the door, it says, "Winning begins at home." We didn't have one home win that year. And I remember taking a picture, walking out of that door going, this organization, this tenure, this Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll fiasco needs to end.
So, they meant winning began at home as in their kitchen.
I thought maybe we were supposed to walk through the door in reverse. And that's what I told the guy I was with. I was like, maybe we got to go even through backwards. But Thomas, I really do have to get out of here. I'm really late now. Thomas, you got anything last you got to say? Because I know you, we like to.
It's a pleasure to get to be on here again, talk to you in person, and to you, sir. It's a pleasure. Hopefully I can be on again. Tim, thank you for making the time. I hope you have I had a couple appointments. I hope that goes swimmingly for you.
You should.
To you, sir. I hope you have a good evening. And yeah, like I said, I hope to talk to you guys later.
Well, thank you. And again, Thomas, thank you for your service and stay safe. You always got to take care of that, my brother. All right. That was Thomas all the way somewhere from, we're not going to say where, but somewhere far. This is why I am the 7th ranked most downloaded podcast in all of Germany. Saying why.
A lot of Americans.
I'm not gonna a lot of even Dom said it best. A lot of air bases in the UK.
Yes.
This is why I'm number 7 all the way overseas. All right, I am really fucking late. You got something to close it out with, Joe?
Nah, man, it's just in Harbaugh we trust, and stop being hypocrites, guys. The coach gave you what you wanted. He laid up the perfect draft for you, and you're still bitching. So cut the shit.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to end it. You got what you wanted. Be happy that you got what you wanted. Don't forget to hit the like button. This is going to be on the rebroadcast, of course, on the Bleav Network. Of course, this is the mighty FanDuel, FanDuel.com, number 1 sportsbook in America, here on New York Giants Straight Talk. For Joe Spano and myself, have yourself a good day, and we are freaking out of here.
That motherfucker must have lost his goddamn mind.